to the World of Warcraft Arena World Championships live at BlizzCon. You have 6 remaining teams competing for $250,000 of total prize pool winnings and the title of BlizzCon champion.
These teams are so evenly matched, but I think it's fair to say that we can already call a winner of this series, which is everyone watching. These games are so ridiculously good.
As we've heard backstage, these teams do have a little bit of beef to settle on stage, and I think that we should get this started. So let's bring out, on the green side, Solari Gaming. Come on out, guys. Give it up for him.
Peekaboo is trying to connect back on him, but Starship is already there and ready.
That's it. That's going to be the game. Fuin down to 30% HP. Waffle trying to reconnect. The smoke bomb gets dropped. Fuin's going to fall. And Tempo Storm are going to take another clean 2-0 against Solari Gaming, moving into the semifinals.
Follow esports, guys. Our only 3-man roster in this tournament.
Bear form for just a second. The Cyclone comes out on Absurge. He trinketed already. He does not have it available, and that's going to be it. Walter Bear goes down, and Cloud9 takes this series 2-1.
Give it up once again for Tempo Storm.
The sort of the rivalry between Europe as well as North America. And I know Healing Stat ended up saying he didn't think that they could lose to any North American team in this tournament. So Temple Storm, of course, going to be looking to prove them wrong here today. All down to 10% HP. It's the full Hodge on a Healing Stat, and that's going to be the game. Jamili doing an excellent job. He also had Presence of Mind up at the end, so they had that follow-up CC, just not letting Healing Stat heal.
Down at 27%, trying to stay alive in the room. Elite is still crowd control, and Jamili is going to fall. And Skillcap the U are going to tie the series up 1-1. Have been a very hot-headed team in terms of aggression. They just never seem to stop, always pushing forward. Let's see if they can keep that aggression rolling and take down Starship.
Whoa, Peekaboo getting swapped to, down to 18%, he doesn't disperse! And Tempo Storm are going to lose 1-3. Skillcap the U making a swap, and Peekaboo not able to disperse in time. And Skillcap the U are going to be the first team to make it to the grand finals here at BlizzCon.
And we've been talking a lot over the last couple of weeks about the little bit of sort of friendly rivalry between the North American and the European teams.
I don't think it's so friendly.
These guys know how to handle an R&D. The thing is, they're up against Cloud9, who is the #1 team coming out of North America.
Multi-Man following it up with a little bit of CC. If Cubsy can get a clone, I don't think they're going to be able to finish it off, though. Swapsy is feeling very stable at 42%, and Cloud9 are going to fall in game #1.
It could have been the game at any single point. Both of these teams just so evenly matched and playing so well against each other.
And now Cloud9 are against the wall and face elimination here at BlizzCon. This could potentially be the final game for them.
SK Gaming are looking to end this. Swapsy still in a bit of pressure. Cubsy under pressure as well. Killing spree coming out from Roasties. It's this Cloud9's comeback. Swapsy's down at 27% HP, and he's going to fall. Cubsy at the same time. It's down at 30%. He blinks away. Joe gets polyed up, and I think Cloud9 have just had a comeback.
Yeah, that is the fourth snowball on the Cubsy. This could be the game. SK Gaming trying to win this game. Roasty's down to 7% HP. He's going to go down. SK Gaming going to take this series 3-1, advancing to the grand final.
Congratulations to SK Gaming. They're going to be our second semifinalists going up against Skillcap in the grand finals tomorrow.
Two European affair.
2 European teams in the grand finals.
It's going to be an exciting day tomorrow where we finish it off and deem our champions for 2015.
Yeah, basically tomorrow's grand finals are going to be amazing,
Yeah.
and you should absolutely not miss them under any circumstances.
Welcome to the World of Warcraft Arena World Championship, where the world's top teams continue the fight for cash prizes and a chance to be crowned the best of the best. The 8 top teams arrived at opening week, and only 6 emerged to continue the fight for first place here on the BlizzCon stage in Anaheim, California. These 6 teams have proven they have what it takes to make it this far. But will they be able to defeat their rivals and rise to the top? They'll be battling it out for a share of the $250,000 prize pool and the ultimate bragging rights of being crowned the 2015 World of Warcraft Arena Champions. Join us for every blind, every cyclone, and every moment of enthralling combat as the World of Warcraft Arena Championships continue here at BlizzCon 2015.
please welcome to the stage your host for the 2015 World of Warcraft Arena World Championships, Jackson Bajira Blyton.
Hey guys, hello and welcome to the World of Warcraft World Championship. Holy moly, these are the grand finals, guys. This is it. I'm Jackson Bajira Blyton. I'm your host today. And we are live in Anaheim once again. And guys, we have the two best teams in the world today. These guys are Skill Capped EU and SK Gaming. These guys are going to be competing for their share of a $250,000 prize pool and, of course, the title of BlizzCon champion. Now, these guys have battled throughout tournaments throughout in summer. They've gone through the qualifiers. They've battled through the regionals. This is actually a rematch of the regionals on EU. And now they have battled their way on the BlizzCon stage into the grand finals. These guys have fought before, as I mentioned. These guys are tournament veterans. They've already given us some great matches in this tournament here today. And I know we're going to have some absolutely amazing arena matches. So, to meet the cast, who's going to be bringing us these games, let's meet the casters. We've got Josh Lore Allen, Sid Supatees Compston, Elliot Venruki Vencel, and Jared Vihel Colston. Take it away, guys.
Thanks so much, Jackson. We are finally here. We apologize for the couple of delays we had getting here. We know this is what everyone has been waiting for. It's the World of Warcraft 2015 Arena World Championship Grand Finals between SK Gaming and Skill Capped EU.
You know, an interesting fact between these teams is that based on score, they're actually tied right now 5-5. And this match today is actually going to decide which is going to be the best in the world. They've been battling across teams across the globe to make it here for you guys today. And I'm sure that this series is going to be the best one that we've ever seen this entire year.
Yeah, these teams are evenly matched, like you said, tied 5-5. These comps, Turbo Cleave against the RMD composition, very back and forth. Won't be able to call it. Whatever team comes to win, plays their best today, will most likely take it. So these guys are going to have to play hard. And one of these teams is going to fulfill their dreams.
Yeah, I don't think I have a favorite going into this match because the teams are so closely matched. Every single time that we've seen them play on stage, everything has been flawless. And again, since it's tied 5-5, could go anyone.
Yeah, we can actually take a look at the brackets really quick just to show how everything has shaken out over the last couple of days. Of course, coming out of Group A was SK Gaming, and they were able to take a 2-0 versus Tempo Storm to just secure their semifinal spot. And of course, that got them here to the grand finals. And then taking a look at Group B, we can go ahead and run through that really quick here just as soon as it comes up on your screen. There we are. We saw Skill Capped EU in a ridiculous series against Cloud9, moving on to the semifinals. Where then they have now obviously secured their grand final spot as well.
Yep, so it's going to be an all-European affair moving into the grand finals between Skill Capped EU and SK Gaming in a best-of-5 format. It's going to be an exciting series nonetheless between these teams. I would imagine we're going to see the Turbo Cleave out from SK Gaming and the Rogue Mage Druid out from Skill Capped EU.
Yeah, the theme of this tournament has sort of been North America against Europe, and now we have two European teams in the grand finals, of course. These guys, not exactly friends. There is some rivalry between them. Each one wants to prove that they're the best from their region.
And what great two teams to have. Of course, they really showed themselves as being dominant. SK Gaming going through the EU regionals. When we had them on stage, it looked like nothing could stop them.
Yeah, they were playing absolutely incredibly well. Of course, that was a rematch of them against Skill Capped EU, however. Skill Capped EU, if there's a team that can stop SK Gaming, it is Skill Capped EU, and they've demonstrated that in the past. But real quick before we move on, let's go ahead and take a brief refresher on the rules of how our tournament works this year. We start every single match on the Grand Arena. That's always going to be the very first map that we go to. Very well balanced all around. No major comp favoritism on that map. No major advantages given to any particular team. From that point forward, okay, I should actually back up 1 second and point out that that's a blind pick on that first map. Both teams will declare the comp that they're going to play to the admins, but not to each other. So they don't necessarily know exactly what they're going to be matched up against in that first game. Moving on from there, however, the team that lost on the Grand Arena will be able to first declare the map that they would like to play on, at which point the winning team will declare the composition that they're going to play, and the losing team has the opportunity to pick into that winning team's comp declaration, sort of get the chance to counter comp a little bit. And it's been really, really great. We've seen so many back and forth series over the entirety of this tournament throughout the entire year. It's been absolutely incredible. I've been really happy with how that's worked out.
Yep, definitely. We can take an initial look at the players that have made it here today.
Yep. All right, guys. I got this sneaking suspicion that I'm not the only one who's ready to see some awesome arenas, huh? was thinking. All right, so to get this started, I've been talking to these guys backstage. They cannot wait to get out here and give it their all. Skill Capped EU, come on out, guys. Give it up for them. Yeah. All right, we got Pry leading the charge. Healing Stat, Raikou, and Villi behind. These guys, once again, you know they've got a little bit of bad blood with SK. Both coming out of EU, battling it out in that EU regional. Definitely an amazing series, and I think these guys are ready to get their vengeance on them. But we are ready to see their competitors, guys that beat them in that regional. SK Gaming, come on out, guys. Let's hear it. Up first, we got Joe Fernandez, Swapsy, Botar, and Fabs. These guys are a ferocious Turbo Cleave who definitely have shown their ability to handle a Rogue Mage Druid composition. But Skill Capped, they're always full of surprises. These guys have beaten the best RMD in North America, and I think that we're gonna have an awesome series today. Shall we get it started? All right, take it away, casters. Let's do this.
All right. We are just about ready to get these grand finals started. I am just shivering with the just anticipation of this upcoming match. These two teams, like we were saying, are so evenly matched. They've played against each other, like we said, tied in their tournament careers overall. They're actually completely even in the number of matches that they've won against each other. So this is going to be good.
Yeah, I'm really eager to see what compositions these teams decide to lead with as well. We do have the draft available now between these two teams. Like I would say, I expect the Turbo Cleave out from SK Gaming and the Rogue Mage Druid out from Skill Capped EU. But they do have the surprises, the curveballs they can throw in with the fourth player on their roster. We have not seen Fabio play a game yet in this tournament. Maybe he'll make a debut here today. But now as we take a look at the draft, we will be able to confirm that is true or not. And it is going to be the Turbo Cleave from SK Gaming and the Rogue Mage Druid out from Skill Capped EU.
One thing that's funny to note is these teams have only lost to each other. They've beaten every other team on the road to this point, and it's funny that these two are the ones in the finals, 1 and 2 coming out from Europe. Like we said, we expected this Rogue Mage Druid coming out from Skill Capped EU and the Turbo Cleave coming out from SK Gaming.
Yeah, of course, that Turbo Cleave composed of that Enhancement Shaman, the Arms Warrior, and the Restoration Druid. And it's also important to note that on Skill Capped side with the Rogue Mage Druid, he is playing combat.
Yeah, combat definitely the specialization that the Rogues are going to want to be in this specific matchup. I'm really excited to see the best Turbo Cleave versus the best RMD, as they have proven themselves to make it this far at BlizzCon in 2015. So it's going to be an awesome chance for these teams to prove to each other who is in fact the best, as they are both playing what would be expected the best comps available right now to them, and they are the best at them. So it's going to be an awesome match, I'm sure.
Yeah, I like that both of these teams are very confident in that one setup that they run really well. Even though they did bring a couple other comps to the table, we've basically been seeing these two teams run those comps so well that they're just going to go into the blind pick with their comp of choice.
Yep, and while we are waiting for this match to get spun up and everything, we do have a real quick video we can jump into that'll give you a little bit more information into the personalities behind these teams.
Hi, I'm Villi. I'm the team captain of Skill Capped EU.
Villi has been a very responsible team captain. I'm not 100% we would all be here in one piece with all our equipment if it wasn't for him.
My role as team captain is probably like holding the team together.
Tries to help us out in game. Sometimes it's good, sometimes we don't like it.
If something's going wrong, I can like suggest something. Like, when they're tilting, I'm there to like cool them down.
Because we can get kind of mad in game, especially if it doesn't go as well as we hoped.
I'm there to win for my team.
My handle is Swapsy. I'm playing Shaman for SK Gaming. My role as a team captain is to keep my team on the goal, make sure they know why we play every single day for so many weeks, a month in a row now, that they don't forget what's going to wait at the end of the road. We want to win BlizzCon, so I always remind them that's what we're going for, and that's why we have to put so much work into this. We're also a group of friends having a lot of fun. We're able to adapt on the spot to whatever gameplay. That's why we're so good. Like, it really sucked to lose BlizzCon in 2013, because I think that was a year where we had it for sure, and we threw it away, so this is the time, this is the moment to win it this year. So our trainings regime was so strict that I think we deserve and we will win BlizzCon.
All right, that of course is our two teams, SK Gaming and SkillCapped EU. But more importantly, the game is just about to get started here very shortly. Just as soon as these gates open, we're going to be getting into game one between these two titanic teams.
Yeah, and really, there's a lot of pressure on all 6 players in this specific matchup. Both teams can swap around onto anybody. So not only do they have the pressure of the grand finals on their shoulders, all 6 players need to be managing their defensive cooldowns and their positioning perfectly in this matchup to be able to come out as a winner.
Yeah, we're going to be looking for SK Gaming to make no overlap in their defensive cooldowns. Swapsy and Botar cannot overlap their trinkets. Shamanistic Rage cannot be overlapped with Ironbark unless they're in a lot of trouble. And of course, we've seen Joe Fernandez use his trinket vigilance at very clutch times when the red buff killing spree comes in to keep his team alive. And we're going to have to look for that clutch play very, very tight for them to survive the onslaught of SkillCapped.
Yeah, the other really important thing that Joe Fernandez has been doing in all of his matches versus the R&D so far is just waiting for those moments right as Feint falls off or right as the heal over times fall off and throwing out those storm bolts. But here we go, guys. Game one between SK Gaming and SkillCapped EU.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's going to be an epic one here. We see SkillCapped EU pushing in, all players in stealth at the moment, looking to get that triple CC opener, playing it very patiently, waiting for the capacitor totem. Mushroom and Healing Rain are down from the team of SK Gaming to try and make sure they're defensively at full capacity here. SkillCapped still patiently playing here. They're going to move in. Cheap shot onto Joe Fernandez. Mark for death over onto Swapsy. Immediate damage over on him. And Botar gets the pre-Ironbark up, reducing a significant amount of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it needed to do. Shut down the opener of SkillCapped, get out that Ironbark, going to reduce that damage by 20%. Swapsy's going to be completely fine at the moment. The full blind, though, going out onto Botar, deciding to trinket that. He wants to line up his trinket as well with that blind. Raikou taking a little bit of damage as well as Pride Healing Stat actually using Bark Skin. Raikou getting dangerously low, down to 20% HP, forced into his first ice block.
That is a very fast first ice block coming out from Raikou, even with that Ironbark, and now they're swapping it over onto Pry, trying to put a whole bunch of damage into him as well. His Feint's actually about to fall off. He does not have it active, but they've already swapped over onto Raikou. The Stormbolt comes out onto Healing Stat. SK Gaming right now is just beautifully pinging back and forth, making sure the SkillCapped's on their toes.
Still a lot of pressure on Raikou. Full fear on Healing Stat. He has to trinket that right away. Raikou's still on hypothermia and unable to block for a few more seconds, down at 49% HP. We see, though, SkillCapped making a swap over onto Botar. He is in bear form. He's got the Bark Skin up. Will it be enough? Adrenaline Rush comes out from Prey. He's looking to try and secure an early kill here, down to 30% HP. Botar kiting away, still in bear. Swapsy getting cloned up, but Botar snags himself a nice Nature Swiftness, which will stabilize his health and continue his team on in this game.
Yeah, but he has no trinket and no Bark Skin now. The next swap SkillCapped does onto him. If they can get another clean one, it's going to be very dangerous. Joe Fernandez might have to use that Vigilance onto him. Healing Stat also has no trinket available. Swapsy getting swapped to right now, though, into that kidney shot. Shamanistic Rage coming out. He'll be fine. Botar channeling that Tranquility to keep him up.
Yeah, Botar has plenty of cooldowns left. That Ironbark is going to be so important for the next swap. We'll have to see if he can push up and use his stun to set up a kill.
Yeah, but this next setup for SkillCapped could be the game. Botar realizes that he's going to pre-Ironbark Swapsy. Are SkillCapped going to push through that, or are they going to play it patient? Looks like they're going to. Preparation coming out from Prey. They're going to be looking for a kill here very shortly. There's the defense onto Botar. Cross CC onto Joe Fernandez. The full kidney shot follows up. Botar's gone to the Ring of Frost. Joe has to keep his team alive right now. He trinkets. He gets the Vigilant out onto Swapsy. Will it be enough to keep him alive? He's dipping down to 45% HP. He's caught in the center field. Still dipping dangerously low. Botar caught into the half bash now. Can they chain the CC? Healing Stat gets the clone, and SkillCapped takes the game!
Just so much constant CC coming out from SkillCapped, able to keep Botar locked down for so long that eventually there was just no way for SK Gaming to stay alive. That was a very, very fast first victory for SkillCapped.
I like exactly what SkillCapped did. They played very patiently with their offensive cooldowns, saving those Ice Novas and making sure they don't waste their damage into the Ironbark. They're going to preemptively use those defensive cooldowns. They can punish it for them by not actually attacking into them.
If that Cyclone didn't land in that split second right there to continue the CC chain, Botar's Nature's Swiftness came up exactly at the end of the previous CC chain, and he would have been able to save him.
Yeah, SkillCapped CC was really on point, even from the beginning to the end right there, to be able to take a kill that early against SK Gaming. We've seen a lot of the RMDs struggling to finish the game even within 15 minutes. That felt like more like 2. So SkillCapped EU are on point here in this series, and they're looking good moving forward into game 2.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that happened there is right as you were saying Joe Fernandez needs to stop this immediately, like Healing Stat knew that was exactly what needed to happen, and Joe Fernandez gets caught into a Cyclone. There's nothing that he can do at that point. We've talked so much over the past couple of days, as well as over opening week, just how good Joe Fernandez has been at just bailing his team out in terrible situations, and it seems like SkillCapped is onto him.
Yeah, I like what SkillCap did. They capitalized on SK Gaming being a little bit more over-aggressive than we typically see. Usually they're a lot safer back at the pillar when they don't have their defensive cooldowns. They play very, very safe, and it didn't look like they did that game.
Yeah, we can see SkillCap there maybe meditating a little bit on their comp selection here, as SK Gaming will have the advantage there. Obviously, they're going to be locking in the Turbo Cleave, and I would imagine, and probably picking Runes of Lordaeron. So now it's up to SkillCap to you if they want to try and change their composition. Maybe the Holy Paladin Shatter on Runes of Lordaeron could make a swap over onto Botar. It might be a little bit more reliable than the RMD in this specific matchup, because I know on Runes of Lordaeron, this is not the map you want to play as an RMD potentially.
So do you think, outside of that Holy Paladin Shatter play, do you think there's any other comps that we'll see during this series?
I don't think so. I mean, I would expect RMD and Turbo to be the two comps all the way through, but when it is on the map pick selection side for SkillCap EU, that's when they might want to enact Valet, just try and go for some random burst. I would say GodComp has a lower win rate percentage than RMD, but that surprise factor is all that they really need.
Yeah,
right?
you were saying earlier on in the tournament that RMD needs to really have that big map. So on the bigger maps, Nagrand, Pulveron Arena, maps like that where they can pull back when they don't have defensive cooldowns and really kind of get a reset. Those are much more advantage to the RMD. The smaller maps, however, Runes of Lordaeron and Dalaran Sewers, those are more for the Turbo Cleave. They can get on to the targets a lot easier, and it's harder for the RMD to actually get away.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we move on to game 2, we are going to head down to Jackson on the stage for a quick look at the last bit of that match with the Windows 10 game DVR replay.
Oh man, what a great way to start the grand finals, huh? All right. Let's take a look at this replay, because this game looked a lot like SK versus Cloud9. However, Pry has a lot more experience playing combat, and I think it showed. Plus, there was one small thing that was different in terms of SK Gaming's gameplay. And you can watch right at the end, as soon as Swapsy starts taking damage, it seemed like Joe Fernandez, rather than peeling as he normally does, decided to pursue the swap onto healing stat. And that is actually what ended up, I think, costing the game there. Joe Fernandez does have to get, he stops the clone there, but then after that, he gets ringed, and Swapsy is all by himself. Botar's into the bash and the clone. There's a little bit of over-aggression there that I think cost him. You gotta admire him really wanted to go after these swaps, really going after these kills, Joe Fernandez, that is, in BlizzCon, in the grand finals, but you still have to play sharp, man. SkillCap Gaming, they're here to play today, and I cannot wait to get it down to this next match. So let's do that. Let's throw it over to the casters.
Thanks so much, Jackson. Yeah, we will be getting into this second match here very, very shortly, and very soon we will have the draft available to take a look at as well. And yeah, that first match, it felt like SK Gaming maybe got knocked a little bit off kilter there. Excuse me, SkillCap. Wait, I've got them mixed up again. One of the team with Joe Fernandez got a little bit
right
mixed
the
up
first
there
time.
for a second. SK Gaming, I knew it. They start with S. Apparently in my brain, that's something very, very difficult for me to handle.
It's
But
interesting, though, on the stage, maybe the pressure is getting to them, because in an atmosphere like this, you might be getting a little bit over-eager. You want to impress the crowd. They got a lot of defensive cooldowns early on, so it might have forced Swapsy to overextend. We don't usually see him getting caught in the middle of the map like that right when the last potential kill setup comes through. So SK Gaming maybe just need to take a moment, calm down, collect themselves, moving into the second game. They do have the map choice over SkillCap EU, and like I was saying, I would expect Runes of Lordaeron, and I'm just curious to see if SkillCap EU are going to change their comps at all moving into this, because I don't think they've beaten SK Gaming on Runes of Lordaeron with the RMD.
Yeah, like you said, there's so much on the line for these teams. Healing Stat, of course, he was second place at BlizzCon last year. He was so close. So he's here once again. Now he's up 1-0 against SK Gaming. 2 games away potentially from winning BlizzCon. Of course, Botar and Swapsy as well have played in BlizzCon many times, as well as Fabs, who's won BlizzCon before. If SK can somehow get a win, Fabs will be the first person in history in World of Warcraft who's won 2 BlizzCons.
Yep, and we do have the draft available that we can take a look at so that we can get into this second game. Let's find out what map choice, as well as if there are any comp swaps. It is going to be that Runes of Lordaeron, and no change in compositions, much like we were expecting. SK Gaming and SkillCap EU just feeling like, you know what, let's just do this.
If SkillCap EU win this game on Runes of Lordaeron, I think it's curtains for SK Gaming. This is their best map. If they lose on this to SkillCap EU, I think that SkillCap EU are just going to clean them 3-0.
It's entirely possible. We've seen so many back and forth series between these teams so far that it's really hard to say that SK Gaming is a team that keeps winning in situations where they really, really shouldn't. So I feel like it's hard to really say anything definitive about either of these two teams. So we will be getting to the second match here very, very shortly. Let's go ahead and hear it for both of these teams.
Yeah, despite losing that last game, we need to see SK Gaming on point with the defensive cooldown management once again. That's going to be key to this game. They cannot overlap, and they cannot overextend when they don't have cooldowns. So they need to be very patient.
I don't even think it was really a problem with overlapping cooldowns towards the end of it. It just seemed like Vigilance wasn't enough. Prey lined up all of his damage perfectly. Maybe he knew that he had enough damage to go through Vigilance, and that's why they set it up. So Joe would be the last line of defense. Now, obviously, SK Gaming have picked Runes of Order, and it's their favorite map against Rogue Mage Druid. They can just kite around the center tomb, and then when the Rogue Mage Druid needs to retreat to try and get mana back, they stack up in the room and cleave all of them apart.
They are going to be, of course, looking for Pride to get a good opener here, being very, very patient. Joe Fernandez going to try to disrupt that opener. Most likely going to see him Blaze Storm unless he gets cheap shot to try to break up that initial opener using Intimidating Shout and his Stormbolt.
Yeah, Pride moving in here. He just goes straight for the cheap shot on Joe Fernandez and the kidney shot onto Swapsy. The Iron Bark does come out. Botar gets caught into the Deep Freeze, into the Polymorph as well. Are they going to be able to force the Shamanistic Rage out of Swapsy as well? That Iron Bark is about to wear off, and they do have the blind onto Botar that gets trinketed right away, but they're turning it around onto Healing Stat. That was a big chunk of damage that he had to deal with, and he's actually running for his life right now.
Yeah, Swapsy and Joe are going very aggressive on the Healing Stat. He's caught into the bash. Skin is fading here. Joe is trying to finish him off. Swapsy needs to be able to reconnect. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Healing Stat trying to drag both of these melee DPS into the open at the moment to tee off for the next Deep Freeze, which is available. Skill cap to you. Just need to pull the trigger. They're actually going to make a swap over onto Botar. They drop the Smoke Bomb as well. He did pre-bear form. He's got Bark Skin up. He should be able to survive here. Vanish double eviscerate comes out from Prey. As long as Botar reacts appropriately, he should be able to make it out alive. He's going to Shadow Meld a little bit of incoming damage. Killing Spree comes out. Botar's not responding. Down at 23% HP. Prey trying to finish him off. The NS comes out. It barely does anything. Botar in full retreat, trying to displace back to the room. Joe Fernandez and Swapsy are going to keep him alive for a little bit longer, but that was a great expense of cooldowns.
Yeah, all he really has left is that Iron Bark. He gets caught in a stun, but Raikou taking a lot of damage now, down to 40% HP. Healing Stat got to that Stormbolt. Raikou might have to be using his first block here. Still has 2 available if he needs it. Looks like he is going to catch a huge heal. Colossus Smash is going to fade, but still, Healing Stat having a really hard time keeping up. Swapsy getting kidney shot, though. Botar into that full sheet. The Shamanistic Rage coming out from Swapsy at the moment. He's taking a lot of damage. Shaman Rage should be enough, though. Botar most likely going to get out of the CC and able to top him off.
Yeah, Healing Stat still taking a lot of damage, though. He does have to use that Bark Skin. And he's just trying to get out of there and trying to get away. The heals are coming out, but it's just so much damage now onto Pride, down to 30% health there for just a second. The Feint is about to wear off. Do they have anything to penalize him for that? Does not look like they're going to. Just continually, this is what SK Gaming has done so many times, just switching targets back and forth, but now the Deep Freeze is coming out onto Botar. They could be in some trouble here on Swapsy. The Iron Bark comes out, and the Ring of Frost onto Botar as well.
Yeah, the Vigilance actually came out from Joe there, which was very important. His trinket is now down. Both players still cross CC. Luckily, Botar did pre-shapeshift the incoming Ring of Frost, so he cannot be polymorphed at the moment. Ice Nova charge used there from Raikou, trying to maybe get some surprise burst onto Swapsy right now. Botar's not falling for it, and I think that skill cap to you realize the kill is lost. They need to peel for Healing Stat. He's caught into that full Stormbolt. He did pre-bear form, but he's still taking a significant amount of pressure at the moment. He's going to Iron Bark himself as he dips down to 46%. A swap now over onto Pride into execute range, and SK Gaming are going to bring the game back in a surprise fashion. Prey not responding appropriately there.
Wow, you saw the last thing that Pride did was actually hit prep. And so it was like he was getting ready. He was like, hold on.
Joe Fernandez, one of my favorite interviews, like I was saying yesterday, he said that their team can just do random damage and kill someone at any point. They have very, very coordinated swaps, but at the same time, they can just put out that pressure together and get kills like that, and it was amazing.
And we've talked about how these teams are so evenly matched, and now we're tied 1-1. We got a series.
These guys in their history playing against each other at the European Regionals and BlizzCon are now tied 6-6.
It's still a tied ball game at this point, but they are going to be able to decide who is in fact the better. At the moment, though, Skill Cap to you have the advantage of being the first winners on the first map, which means that it'll always go back to their map pick moving into the final game. So right here, I would expect Tolvaron Arena to come out from Skill Cap to you. It's a much more expansive map, very big. They can kite around. They don't get clumped up like they just did there, where they could easily swap over to Prey right away. So it's going to be interesting to see if they do actually lead with the Tolvaron, if they're going to go with Tiger's Peak first, maybe leave Tolvaron as their last, because it is their best map.
Yeah, and just looking back at that last game again, I think it's really, really important to note just how SK Gaming is actually able to set up kills like that. With that constant pinging back and forth between targets, it's really just almost impossible for Healing Stat to really keep ahead of the healing, because he'll get a full row of heal over time effects on one target, and then immediately they say, okay, well, you're healing that guy, so we're going to kill this guy instead. And he's like, oh, okay, I got to heal this guy. He's just pinging around back and forth, and that's a great way to just get ahead of the Resto Druid's ability to keep his team alive and just make sure that he really has never got an opportunity to top everyone off.
Not only that, the purges, there were so many purges out of Swapsy. He spent most of his time during that last game towards the end just spamming purge.
And that's what makes it so hard for Healing Stat to heal through the damage. He's just caught in the bear, like you were saying, for so long to tank the damage. If he's not tanking that damage, then he's just going to go down, even with Ironbark, even with Barkskin. He needs to be in bear form as long as possible because he's just getting spam purge.
I wonder if Prey was actually maybe just trying to be greedy, maybe by holding on to the preparation. He wanted to save it for a vanish later on a setup, so maybe he just got caught off guard. But he did have the cooldowns to respond to that situation. So Skill Captain, you just need to keep a level head, realize, you know, it happens to the best of us. We don't press the Ice Wall, we don't press the Dispersion. It happened yesterday. So there's a lot of pressure on the stage at the moment for these teams, and they need to keep a level head moving forward. Obviously, the momentum now swinging for SK Gaming.
Yeah, Prey is one of the most aggressive rogues that we've ever seen in World of Warcraft. He is no stranger to just going all in, and at that point, he tends to kind of forget that he needs to keep his feint active. And that's when those hard swaps can actually happen, where all of a sudden he takes a big chunk of damage. And even if he gets the feint up right afterwards, that's still a lot of health that's missing for him. And it can be very, very difficult for him to keep alive. And that's one thing that Joe Fernandez has been great at capitalizing on, is getting those Storm Bolts on. And we haven't seen it yet, but in the previous series that we've seen, Joe Fernandez is really good at noticing when those buffs fall off, when those defensive buffs fall off, and immediately punishing them for not keeping it active with that quick Storm Bolt charge swap.
And what's nice about that last game from SK Gaming is that they kept their aggression high. They didn't let the loss get to them. They didn't over-turtle and play defensive when they didn't need to. They were always in the face of Skill Cap EU, and you can see they applied so much pressure on them that they eventually just fall.
Right, what Bajira was saying about Joe Fernandez going on the offense while the CC was still, and they were killing Swapsy, and I would suspect most teams to get on stage after that first loss and go, all right, I'm never doing that again. But they stayed offensive the entire time, like you were saying, just kept the momentum going.
Yep, okay, so just to take a quick look at the last few moments of that last match, we do have Jackson down at the main stage for the Windows 10 game DVR replay.
All right, thanks, Lore. So going into this match, we knew that Ruins of Lordaeron was going to be a rough matchup for our RMD over here, Skill Cap, but I want to look at this replay because I want to point out what SK Gaming is doing well. We know the RMD setup is that, you know, deep poly setup, but what SK Gaming is doing nearly every time is they're getting a DPS to around half health and then making a tremendous Stormbolt swap onto the enemy team's Resto Druid. Out of that swap, they have options. They can continue to train, but if the Resto Druid ever escapes, they're more than willing to just turn their damage onto the next target, which is Pry here. You can see Pry, he's kind of dodging back and forth. He doesn't want to go too far in there because he knows it's really easy for them to swap right over to him. You know, Joe Fernandez is Bladestorming there, cancels that Bladestorm, hits him with that Arms Warrior Execute, and Pry just evaporates before his eyes. So, we've seen two moments where these teams are going a little bit over aggressive, they're finding themselves in rough positions, and they're paying for it. This is BlizzCon, these are the grand finals. Small mistakes end up having big consequences. But these guys are playing awesome, and I cannot wait to get down to the next match. So let's throw it over to the casters and get this thing going.
All right, thanks so much. And we do have the draft already ready to go for this next game. We're going to be getting into it very soon. But first, we need to find out what map choice has been made, as well as what comps have been locked in. If they do decide to switch over, there may be some situations in which going for that Holy Paladin Shatterplay comp might make sense for SK Gaming. But
I think the only time they would do the Holy Paladin Shatterplay is when they're playing on a map that they're already disadvantaged with playing Rogue Mage Druid. So maybe after this, if they get the win and we bounce back into Dalaran Arena, then maybe try and change it up as a surprise. Obviously, they can afford to throw away the games on the maps that are disadvantaged, as they did win the first.
Yeah, and of course, we do actually have that draft ready, so we can see what map these teams have selected going forward, as well as their compositions. And it looks like we do have Tolvaron Arena, like you were saying. Skill Cap EU wants to select that bigger map, gives them a bigger pillar to get to. They can kite away, recollect their cooldowns, get drinks if they need it. SK Gaming, of course, playing that Turbo Cleave once again. And yeah, it's just going to be a mirror match from these last games with a different arena.
Yeah, both these teams are really just clashing very aggressively. These are probably the fastest games that we've seen in the tournament thus far. You can tell that they're both out for blood, and they both want the BlizzCon championship.
Yep, but before we move on any further, we do have a very quick team profile video to show you guys on Skillcapped EU.
Hello, my name is Raiku and I play Mage for Skillcapped EU.
Hello, my name is Healingstad and I will be playing Restoration Druid and Holy Paladin for Skillcapped.
I'm Pry and I play Rogue for Skillcapped.
I'm Ville, I'm the team captain of Skillcapped EU.
For us it's really important to be here because I think we are one of the strongest teams in EU.
We actually only came together about a week before the first qualifier, yeah. We had a little bit of a bumpy start. but our synergy's much stronger now.
We've prepared for like every single team that's here.
None of the US teams have ever played at BlizzCon before. A lot of us have played at multiple regionals or qualified for multiple regionals.
Everyone underestimates North American teams, and like I tell my team every time, don't underestimate them.
We are certain we're going to beat the NA teams at this BlizzCon.
I think there is like no team I'm really scared of because we can beat everyone here.
SK Gaming, I wouldn't mind knocking out. They're really strong players and they play a really good comp.
We really do see SK Gaming being a big milestone for us.
I really want to knock out SK Gaming because we lost 3-2 on regionals against them.
They're pretty cocky as well, like really cocky. So if they lost, I wouldn't mind.
Our rogue Prey has even lost sleep because of countless nights he wakes up in the middle of the night, he starts typing in Skype that he has a new strategy he wants to try out tomorrow.
We were kind of obsessed about beating them now.
This time we're not going to lose against them.
All right, that is skill-capped EU going up here against SK Gaming, who they, of course, were saying that they feel they're a little bit cocky, maybe feeling like they want to get a little bit of revenge here. But SK Gaming, I think I think they're allowed to be a little bit cocky coming into this, just with how well they've been playing overall.
Yeah, definitely both of these teams have proven themselves to be titans now at a tied ball game 1-1, moving into Tolvaron Arena, the map selection for skill-capped EU. This map should give them a competitive edge to be able to kite away and reset when they need to a lot more readily, and then that way they can kind of just play the dampening game into the turbo almost and just roll the damage in later in the game, and I really expect that skill-capped EU should probably play for that longer game.
Do you think that SK Gaming should be overextending and try to chase them down, or does it really depend on the situation? I mean, so on a map like this, sometimes when you chase an RMD to the opposite side of the pillar, that can be your demise.
The one thing that SK Gaming does better than any other turbo so far in the world is that they always just ping-pong back and forth. They're never overextending, but this game is about to start here as the gates open on Tolvaron Arena. We can see that skill-capped EU, of course, are going to be in stealth. Once again, moving forward, looking to get that triple crowd control opener.
Yep, Prime moving in here, looking for the best opportunity. Of course, SK Gaming is very good at trying to diffuse that as much as possible, even before skill-cap moves over. We saw just a second ago the capacitor totem, just everything they can drop ahead of time that might pull someone out of stealth is what they're looking for. And we even see Joe Fernandez just running back and forth, trying to find someone in stealth so that he can go on it. But there's the cheap shot coming out onto Joe Fernandez, the sap onto Botar, and the kidney shot onto Swapsy as well. That's immediately going to pull out the Shamanistic Rage because there was no pre-Iron Bark this time.
Yep, there's the deep freeze over onto Botar. He's still caught into that. The Ascendance is going to get popped. Botar tricketing that blind right away, trying to get Joe Fernandez on the offense, dispelling him out of that polymorph. Ascendance is still up for a few more seconds. Pressure onto Raikou. He gets locked on that polymorph, still down at 50% HP, trying to retreat back, and this is where skill-capped EU are taking advantage of that big open playing field, trying to drag SK Gaming into the middle field.
Yeah, and Joe Fernandez and Swapsy making sure they don't overextend too much. They don't want Botar to have to be in the middle of the map. Botar, of course, playing very far back, has that Nature's Vigil up, just throwing out as many hots as possible, just wants to make sure his team's okay while they're out there. Actually, the full clone going out onto Joe Fernandez, the kidney shot onto Swapsy. Botar actually getting caught into that deep freeze. Well-timed trinket by Swapsy, actually interrupting Raikou's, preventing that CC onto Botar.
Yeah, but I love these Cyclones coming out from Healing Stat just constantly. As soon as there's a setup that starts to happen, he throws the Cyclone over onto Joe Fernandez, which is really making it difficult for SK Gaming to respond to those when they actually come out. However, Botar does now have his Iron Bark available once again, as well as his Nature Swiftness, so SK Gaming should be feeling pretty confident at the moment. Of course, the Shamanistic Rage has come up as well, so skill-capped has got a lot of cooldowns to work through, but it's looking like Raikou taking quite a bit of damage here. SK Gaming trying to force out an Ice Block.
Yeah, he's still dipping dangerously low. There's the block getting traded out with that Storm Bolt over on the Healing Stat. Joe Fernandez caught into the cheap shot. Skill-capped EU are pulling the trigger. Joe needs to be the one to save this setup. He's got his trinket available. Shaman Rage is going to come out. I don't think the Shaman Rage will be enough on its own. He's dipping dangerously low. The Gift of the Naru has to come out. Healing Stat follows it up with the Cyclone. Swapsy still in a 2v3 situation, but should stabilize towards the end of it. Healing Stat not able to chain the clone any longer, but forcing through that Shaman Rage. Now on the next setup, looking for Joe's trinket.
Yeah, great job by SK Gaming to survive through that, but that was a lot of cooldowns that were just used, even the Nature Swiftness coming out from Botar. Now with this Sheep onto Swapsy, it looks like they're going to just settle back a little bit, just try to chill out the damage that SK Gaming is able to do until they can get another good setup. There was a Stormbolt just then onto Healing Stat, with SK just trying to make some damage here. It looks like they're trying to force another Ice Block out of Raikou, but with Healing Stat getting out of that Smoke Bomb, they should be just fine for now. But as I say that, though, Raikou's still taking an awful lot of damage.
Wait, Joe Fernandez just used the Vigilance preemptively, and Raikou's still still taking a bit of damage, though. He's got to be careful here. Now that they've baited the Vigilance through, they might be able to get a kill if they go in the next 8 seconds. 7 more seconds, and Sean Rage is going to come up. Botar has his trinket now available for Blind, and SkillCap, you are losing their opportunities to strike.
Yeah, SK Gaming has a lot of cooldowns they can still work through. Here's the triple crowd control that's going to go out. Swapsy immediately using that Shamanistic Rage. Full ring on a Botar, though. Swapsy could be in a little bit of trouble. Raikou just spamming out that damage. Adrenaline Rush is up for Pry. Swapsy trying to get away, doing a little bit of damage to Pry right now. The killing spree, though, coming out onto Swapsy. Botar getting out of that crowd control, throwing out that NS. Going to stabilize Swapsy for now. Pry going to be in a little bit of trouble, though. That's his last evasion.
Healing Stack got to drink back to full, I'm sure, in stealth at the moment. Pry is resetting as well, and SkillCap, you are playing the map out to perfection.
They are, and Pry in that moment right there when we said he had killing spree up, he also had Adrenaline Rush and he had red buff up, so not getting a kill off of that is huge.
Yeah, that really hurts SkillCap's chances. They want to be using as many of those opportunities as possible. Now Botar caught in that blind, he's going to trinket that right away and immediately use the Iron Bark onto Swapsy. The Iron Bark just fell off of Raikou, though. Looks like they're trying to turn it around. Healing Stat caught into that Stormbolt, having to use the Iron Bark, or excuse me, the Bark Skin. He's just trying to kite away right now. Are they going to swap it back over yet again onto Raikou or Pry? Doesn't look like it just yet. SK Gaming actually having to get held up a little bit here.
Yeah, Swapsy popping the Ascendance there, not getting too much done with it. He would have liked to get an Ice Block out from Raikou. Looks like they're still trying to force it. Charge stun over onto Pry as well. There comes the triple crowd control out from SkillCap to you. Joe Fernandez trinkets out of that right away. Lands a good defensive fear onto Prey. Now Joe, though, is caught into the bash. Healing Stat tries to go for a clone. Botar shuts him down. Well done from Botar. He's going to keep his team going and gain some momentum with that.
Healing Stat taking a lot of damage, though, down to 30% HP. Doesn't have any defensive cooldowns. Using that Stampeding Roar, getting to the pillar, getting away, going to be able to hot himself up. Raikou, though, immediately getting swapped to by Swapsy and Joe Fernandez, taking a lot of damage, down to 20% HP. The Colossus Smash comes in. Healing Stat trying to get some regrowths onto him. It looks like he will connect, but Pry now taking a lot of damage. SK Gaming hitting every single target at SkillCap, forcing so many defensive cooldowns and forcing them all defensively.
Yeah, this is Danger Town for SkillCap right now. Healing Stat, however, did manage to get off a full channel of Tranquility, topped his team off quite a bit, but now caught into that Stormbolt. Are they going to be able to continue putting damage into Pry? It's important to note that Cold Snap has just come back up for Raikou, so he does now have 2 Ice Blocks available. SK Gaming actually kind of missed an opportunity there to maybe burn through his second Ice Block and make sure that he would never get back to having 2 available, but they're still just putting up so much pressure. Pry actually has to get an Iron Bark.
SkillCap, you actually just lost a kill opportunity. Botar pre-Iron Bark the setup, and they weren't able to chain the CC. Now SK Gaming have a lot more momentum because of that. Stormbolt over on the Healing Stat. Raikou dipping dangerously low. Blazing speeds away, trying to kite away from Swapsy and Joe Fernandez, but they don't care. Swapping now over to Prey. We see Healing Stat moving in. Joe Fernandez trying to pre-parry the bash, but he's going to eat a Polymorph. SkillCap you going for the triple crowd control, but they don't follow it up onto Botar. He shadow melts. The Shaman Rage is going to come up from Swapsy now as Healing Stat does secure a Cyclone. Polymorph reflected over onto Raikou, and SK Gaming are going to defuse the CC once again.
That shadow melt was so huge because he was able to get an NS off immediately after and save Swapsy.
Yeah, Healing Stat getting shocked on that Cyclone, pulling back. I like what Raikou's doing. He realizes the kill opportunity is lost, just spamming out those polymorphs, trying to build up those icicles for the next kill. Healing Stat actually going for another drink once again. Botar at around 25% mana, dampening at 5% right now. Wants to keep his team aggressive. Can't really go for the drinks as often as Healing Stat, with Healing Stat having that mage food which ticks instantly. Here comes the triple CC, though. The Iron Bark out onto Swapsy. Preemptive Iron Bark. Well done by Botar once again, but he isn't that full polymorph. Vigilance being stacked by that. It's unlikely that Swapsy goes down, but SkillCap putting out so much damage.
Yeah, that Adrenaline Rush forced a lot of cooldowns. Excellently timed clone from Healing Stat onto Swapsy. He's dangerously low. The Smoke Bomb gets dropped out of it. Joe Fernandez caught into the poly. Botar's scared to go in. Botar goes into the bash. Healing Stat trying to chain it into the Cyclone. He's not able to get it. Botar's able to displace out of line of sight. There's the Shadow Reflection kidney shot over onto Swapsy. He's down at half HP. Botar caught into a 1-second deep freeze. He connects the polymorph on the 1-second deep freeze. Swapsy has to respond with the Shamanistic Rage, dampening and stacking high. His healing is going to do less and less. He's dipping dangerously low, even through the Shamanistic Rage. Botar, though, is no longer crowd controlled. Connects that Nature Swiftness. SK Gaming rotating the pressure now onto Raikou. Both Swapsy and Raikou the primary targets right now for opposing teams.
Yeah, SK Gaming survived that very well, but they still have their work cut out for them as they have very few defensive cooldowns remaining. It's just going to be Iron Bark in a few seconds. Raikou gets down to 10% health and has to Ice Block. He did have his Cold Snap available, so he will have a second Ice Block, but he's still only at 45% health. There could be an opportunity here for SK Gaming to kill him inside of Hypothermia, but it looks like they're going after Healing Stat.
This is the setup that they have to kill Swapsy, and there's nothing there to stand, and they're not getting it. There's not enough crowd control for Botar. Healing Stat going for the bash, trying to chain it into the Cyclone here shortly, I would imagine, but he's just not able to get it. Joe is going to shut it down. Botar gets the Iron Bark up, dampening and stacking up. Raikou's dipping dangerously low. Joe heroic leaps over to try and finish the job. Hypothermia is shortly fading. He's got one more block available, down at 34%, trying to kite away. Defensive polymorphs onto Swapsy. Raikou should be able to stabilize here in this game, but it's a tense moment for both teams.
Yeah, and he actually saved his second ice block there. So even though the hypothermia fell off, SK Gaming still had an opportunity to get that second ice block, but they weren't able to force that out. And now both healers are actually getting super low on mana. We're going to have to look to see if Healing Stat can get another drink off. He's gotten a couple already. Botar's just been hanging on this entire time with just the one mana bar. No real drinks for him just yet.
Healing Stat actually got locked out there. Raikou taking a lot of damage. The Stormbolt follows that up. Raikou trying to do his best to kite. Turning around the pressure, the Frozen Orb goes out onto Swapsy, taking a lot of damage. He does have that Shamanistic Rage if he needs it, deciding not to use it, even though the Frozen Orb comes out. Raikou under a lot of pressure right now. The Killing Spree, though, coming in onto Swapsy. Healing Stat actually offensively cloning that. A little bit of an overlap on that Killing Spree right there, but Swapsy still low. The sap onto Botar. Swapsy having to use that Shamanistic Rage in a lot of trouble right now. Botar does have Trinket and Iron Bark available if he needs it. He wants to save it for Blind, though. There's the Blind. He's going to Trinket that right away. Into a Bash, though. Swapsy could still be in a lot of trouble. Shamanistic Rage still up for him, taking a little bit less damage. Botar caught into that TCs. How is Swapsy alive? I don't understand. He is using that pillar quite well to kite. Iron Bark actually coming up from Botar at the same time, though. Healing Stat taking a lot of damage, using that Bark Skin, getting away. His mana is dangerously low at the moment. Pride taking a bit of damage as well. No evasion for him for a while.
Yeah, this is starting to look really bad for Skill Cap. Healing Stat down to 5% mana, and all three members of Skill Cap just constantly taking damage. Healing Stat tries to get a drink off, but Joe Fernandez jumps over. He did actually manage to get into stealth. If he can sneak away, he might be able to get a drink here just by walking across the entire map. He's going to just sit down and drink.
Here comes the setup, though. Joe Fernandez has to be careful here with this Trinket and his Vigilance, holding onto it patiently. No CC. They managed to actually force Raikou into a block. Stormbolt onto Healing Stat. He's forced to Trinket that. Joe Fernandez and Swapsy connecting. He displaces away, throws up the Iron Bark. Joe Fernandez trying to reflect that instant root. Not able to connect, though. Botar caught into the Deep Freeze. He goes for the Poly. Doesn't manage to get it. Swapsy grounds the Polymark. And now SK Gaming can take a huge swing of momentum. Recklessness coming up in 18 seconds. Ascendance available in 28. Actually, Recklessness coming out from Joe Fernandez right now with the Blade Storm onto two players. He wants to swip over to Healing Stat. He actually puts him into the full fear, trying to finish the job here onto Prey. Prey doing a great job defensively peeling with these cheap shots. Swapsy now getting set up on. They need some CC onto Botar. They might be able to take him down. A bit of an overlap here out from SK Gaming. As long as Skill Cap to you stay alive, they should be able to take it. But Raikou's almost in execute range with no blocks left and nothing standing between gaps. He's trying desperately to kite away from Joe Fernandez, and Joe Fernandez just can't connect. He can't finish them off.
It's going to come up 1 second, uses the Cold Snap, does have a nice block. He's going to have to use it right away in the nick of time, right as Joe Fernandez connects. Pry, though, still dangerously low. Healing Stat has no mana whatsoever. How is he going to keep his team alive? Raikou coming out offensively, the Stormbolt onto Healing Stat right now. Adrenaline Rush coming up from Pry.
This is the setup to win.
Swapsy could be in a little trouble. Could Skill Cap turn it around right here? Botar onto that full Ring of Frost. Trinket coming up for him in 5 seconds. The DR Bash. Swapsy needs to live for just a little bit longer. Botar able to get the Iron Bark on him. Now Pry's going to go down to 19% entry into execute range. This could just be the game, and SK Gaming's going to take it.
He Blade Stormed the Blind. He immuned the Blind at the end and finished it by Blade Storming the Blind. Well done from Joe Fernandez. And they're going to beat Skill Cap to you on their map pick. And now the map selection advantage is in favor of SK Gaming.
He smelled blood in the water. He knew the blind was up. He knew that he was going to be shut down in that point, and pre-blade storming it, that was so great.
Yeah, we keep saying, like I've said this a few times, SK Gaming is a team that wins in situations where they really shouldn't. And on Tolvaron Arena, as a Turbo Cleave versus an RMD, by all accounts of math available in the universe, you should lose that match. But SK Gaming, man, they are tough competitors. They're going to be able to pull out that win there. And like you said, that does give them the overall map pick advantage. Obviously, the next map pick will still be Skill Caps because they lost that. But now, what this means is that SK Gaming only has to worry about winning on their own map picks if they want to close out the series and win it 3-2.
They always have Dalaran and Sewers to fall back on. Now, that's got to be a good thought. Even if they lose this game, they're going to a map, like you said, which is a huge advantage for them. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate Healing Stat's patience, constantly looking for those drinks, trying to extend the late game. But Prey and Raikou, I don't think we're on the same page. They were always staying in the center field. It's okay to trade one block, trade an invasion for a full mana drink, but they're kind of just overstaying their welcome. And it's kind of a story of the teams that end up losing is they're just overextending a little bit too far and overstaying their welcome. So I'd like to see a little bit more patience from Skill Cap to you. Try and take the kill later in dampening if they want to play it very safe. They can actually just get a kill with Deep Freeze, even through Sham Rage at that point where dampening is about 30-40% because Swapsy's cooldowns just don't mean anything at that point.
Yep, and to get on, or before we move on to the next match, let's take another look at the last few seconds of that one. We've got Jackson down at the stage with the Windows 10 game DVR replay.
Wow. When you guys think about BlizzCon Grand Finals, these are the games I'm talking about, man. Holy moly, these teams. Wow. So SK Gaming, just to put it in perspective, is one game away from becoming BlizzCon champions, and they're playing like BlizzCon champions right now. Let's take a look at this replay. So once again, one of the cool things about the beginning of this match, it seemed like Skill Cap was really responding well to SK Gaming swaps. They were allowing Joe Fernandez to charge in on healing stat, and they were seeing him out of that. But playing defensively is great, but after a while, it seemed like SK Gaming just really had their number. They were constantly on the offensive. They were constantly cleaving down Skill-Cap's health bars. And even though Skill-Cap almost made a final push right here with that Ring of Frost, it just wasn't quite enough. We know that SK is able to tank damage. The Turbo Cleave, that's what they're known for, surviving. And as finally, into 35% dampening, they bring down Pry once again. It seems like Skill-Cap TU definitely has a lot of really nice plays at their disposal. It's just a matter of securing enough CC and enough damage to finally score that kill. But we know that SK Gaming's Botar, he's an extremely good defensive shot caller. Even in the most dire situations, he's extremely patient and knows when to use team's cooldowns and when to save them. I think that these guys definitely have a good chance of taking home the BlizzCon title, but I know Skill-Cap TU isn't done yet. So let's get into the next game and see how it goes. Back to the casters.
Thanks so much, Jackson. This has been an incredible series so far. I am beyond hyped for these matches, and we still got more games to go ahead. Of course, this does mean that SK Gaming is up 2-1 in this series. If they win this next match, that's it. They're going to be the grand champions. But Skill-Cap still has it well within their ability to turn it back around.
Yeah, and let's just take a moment and look at what SK Gaming really have to say about this series. They're one win away from being the BlizzCon 2015 champions.
My handle is Swapsy, I'm playing Shaman for SK Gaming. This is my third BlizzCon, obviously makes me feel comfortable. My role as a team captain is to keep my team on the goal, make sure they know why we play every single day, that they don't forget what's gonna wait at the end of the road. We want to win BlizzCon, and that's why we have to put so much work into this.
I'm Botar. I play a druid, and I personally have so much experience that I played at the most lands out of all the players at this year's BlizzCon.
I'm Fabio, I play Warlock. For myself, I will be like the only player in history to win BlizzCon twice.
I'm Joe Fernandez, I play Warrior for SK Gaming. It will mean a lot for me to win BlizzCon this year. It's my first time being here, so it'll be really awesome to just win it straight away.
We are really impressed with the Korean ARM team Do It For Fun. Today was the first day of practice and they actually destroyed most of their opponents they faced today. We didn't really expect that, so that's kind of scary.
Well, teams like Cloud9, Templestorm and Skill-Cap play RMD, and it's a composition we don't really like. So it will be a joy for us to knock them out.
After every single session, we watch VODs, usually go over all our mistakes, even the games we won, try to figure out every single mistake that was done and improve them.
We question ourselves in any point and in any aspect of the game. We're here to play now.
This is the time, this is the moment to win it this year.
All right, we are back at the caster desk, just about to get into Game 4 between SK and Skill-Cap TU. This series has already been, I would say, one of the best BlizzCon finals we've ever got, and it has very much within it to become the best BlizzCon finals we've seen.
And of course, we have the draft ready immediately for these guys. We want to find out what map they are playing on and what comps they have locked in.
Let's see what these guys are doing. Skill-Cap EU once again coming out with that Combat Rogue, Restoration Druid, Frost Mage. Tiger's Peak going to be the map of choice. Pardon me. SK Gaming running that Turbo Cleave once again. We've seen it through them all throughout the tournament. They've been doing an incredible job. Both of these teams a little bit bigger of a map, so this might be in Skill-Cap EU's advantage. Like we've been saying, the bigger maps favor them. Even if SK loses on this map, though, they can of course go into the next game with their advantage.
Both of these teams are really playing their hearts out for themselves and for you guys here. So let's hear it for the teams.
Absolutely, guys.
Come on, guys. This is the BlizzCon Finals. We're going to determine the winner of 2015 here and now.
All right, so this match is just about to get underway. There's actually a lot on the line for either of these teams here in terms of becoming the BlizzCon championship. We mentioned in that video before, the BlizzCon champion, obviously not the championship itself, that would be silly. But in order to, in that video, Fabs was talking about how he has the opportunity here to become the first player to win BlizzCon twice, but at the same time, Pry has the opportunity to become the first rogue to win BlizzCon.
This is SK Gaming's map. This is SK Gaming's game. If they win this, they will become the 2015 BlizzCon champions. Skillcap has to win here, or they will be eliminated from the tournament. If you guys want to see a great game, cheer these guys on right here and now.
Yeah, we can see Skillcap EU currently in stealth, playing it patient here. The Tiger's Peak was an expected map pick. As they're moving forward, they really need a clean opener. They need to kind of refresh themselves emotionally and get a quick win here if they want to move into a confident Game 5.
Yep, we're just watching here as Pry is about to move in. He goes for the cheap shot onto Joe Fernandez. There's that pre-Iron Bark coming out from Botar once again. Very, very good from Botar just before that Deep Freeze comes out. Is caught into the Polymorph, so the Iron Bark is going to slowly tick down on Swapsy, but we're going to have to see if Skillcap is going to be able to force out the Shamanistic Rage as well. Does not look like it. Wow, Raikou actually takes a big chunk of damage there, down to 38% health. Does not have to Ice Block, but he's still taking so much damage, and that did pull out the Iron Bark as well.
Yeah, Swapsy and Joe Fernandez are choosing to use their offensive cooldowns, Ascendance as well as Recklessness coming out right away. They want to force Skillcap in the defensive. Raikou still having a hard time really getting out too much damage. Just tanking a little bit of this damage right now in the middle of the map. He wants to get himself in a position where he can push in and get the Deep Freeze, Polymorph, Ring of Frost when he can.
It's good that he saved the Ice Block in that initial onslaught too. That's going to play a huge difference.
Swap over onto Botar. He's in bear form right now. This might be his life. He's trying to take it through here. Barkskin is up as he's dipping down below half HP. Swapsy into the cross crowd control in that Cyclone. Double Ice Nova comes out. It's Skillcap. Now they're going to be able to pull it back. Joe Fernandez rallying dry just in the nick of time to keep Botar alive.
And even though Botar survived that was a lot of cooldowns that came out to keep himself alive. He used his Iron Bark, his Nature Swiftness, as well as his Bash is now on cooldown as well. So he has just the Iron Bark available. I think I said Iron Bark a second ago, I meant Barkskin, but now they're trying to turn it back around onto Raikou. They do get the Iron Bark out onto Raikou, and so he's going to be taking quite a bit less damage. Actually manages to get his Water Elemental back out again too.
And you can see Botar behind the pillar right now, loading himself up with HOTS. He knows he's the target of choice, making sure every time he peeks out, he is in that bear form, doesn't want to get swapped to with a kidney shot. Iron Bark's still up for him if he needs it. Bark's going to be up in 10 seconds. Swapsy actually getting fully cloned. It looks like they are going to try to push in onto Botar more than likely. Here comes the triple CC, the Polymorph onto Joe Fernandez. Ring of Frost onto Botar at the moment. Swapsy responding greatly, throwing out that Shamanistic Rage right away, preventing that incoming damage. Pry taking a little bit of damage at the same time. Joe Fernandez finally out of that crowd control. Botar still caught into that Cyclone. Healing Stat actually getting Storm Bolted right now. Joe Fernandez trying to force that Barkskin. He is able to get it. So now Healing Stat only really has his Trinket left defensively.
Yeah, SK Gaming doing a good job to respond. Swapsy trading out the Shaman Rage and the Trinket in that setup. Now Botar has his Trinket coming up available, and they're actually going to swap over onto him. A few more seconds left on his Trinket. He Barkskins right away, but he's not in bear form. Praise Killing Spree comes out. He pulls the trigger, and Skillcap to you are going to tie this up 2-2. We're going into a game number 5.
I could not have asked for more from these teams. These guys are now tied 7-7 in the performances.
That was scary for the second there. Raikou actually has to Ice Block. Of course, SK Gaming still actually staying in this, trying to see if they can still pull out a win here. It looks like Skillcap is going to stabilize here with that Ice Block as Raikou's going to get back to full health. Now Swapsy caught into that Garrote and Joe Fernandez into the Ring of Frost as well. They're going to hang on to it though, and I mean, who can blame them? If they can get a cross kill right here, this actually could be a big deal. But Swapsy's health is dipping lower and lower and lower, and they just do not have, they have no healer anymore. So it looks like Swapsy is going to go down here, and that will in fact be Skillcap tying it up 2-2 in this series.
Oh, that Rift buff Killing Spree, it's got to be so tense. Being that Druid, needing to pre-bear form literally every single one or you lose.
He had his Trinket in 4 more seconds. Yep. 4 more seconds, and Botar wouldn't have died in that setup.
Keep in mind, guys, these guys do not have add-ons. They don't know when trinkets are coming up, so it's very nice of them to actually capitalize on that, knowing that he didn't have his trinket for a little bit longer, doing that final swap onto him, and able to finally take him out.
Yeah, this does mean that we will be going to SK Gaming's map pick for the final map, but there's only so many maps left available. They do still have that Dalaran Sewers available, I believe, that they can go to, and I would expect to see that, but this is still going to be a hard-fought victory for SK Gaming if they want to pull it out and close out the series, and I really feel like Skillcap can bring it back.
Yeah, I think Dalaran Sewers is going to be the final setting here at BlizzCon 2015. It is a more favorable map for SK Gaming. Both teams now are 1 win away from winning BlizzCon.
And they're tied in their entire tournament career. Once again, these guys are so ridiculously evenly matched. What is this now, 8 and 8 or something? 7 and 7 between these two teams in the overall championship.
I could watch them play all day. Do we have to leave?
Extend it to 11.
Yeah, I think at some point these guys, one of these teams is going to want that $120,000, so we probably can't keep going forever.
And I do actually think we have our Windows 10 game DVR replay with Jackson on the main stage.
Thanks, guys. What an incredible series. Give it up for our two teams in the BlizzCon Grand Finals. This next game will determine the 2015 BlizzCon champion. Let's take a look at this last one. So in that first match, we knew that Skillcapped had the Druid swap in their arsenal. But in that second and third match, they didn't seem like they went for it. This time, knowing Botar instantly trinkets that blind, they knew they had an opportunity to set up. That first time they set up, once again, Joe Fernandez lands a beautifully timed rallying cry, obviously in communication with Botar. That second time around, though, when the swap came once again, Botar didn't have trinket, he didn't have rallying cry, and he wasn't even in bear form. So Pry, once again, dealing that insane combat rogue damage. The entire team was in on that. You even saw Moonfire come in. Wow, Skillcapped absolutely setting that swap up beautifully. I cannot wait to get down to this next match. Once again, guys, this is insane. All right, casters, take it away. Let's go, let's go.
This is an absolutely epic series between these two teams. Again, I could not be more pleased with how this series is going as a whole. It's been absolutely amazing so far. We've got one game left, and we know it's the last game because whoever wins this next game wins BlizzCon 2015.
You know, the one thing about Botar's death in that last match is that's the #1 thing to put you on tilt. Dying through Barskin as a Resto Druid, that's the one thing that everybody goes, come on, how is that possible? But Prey and Helios, they all stacked it up. They had cross CC on Swapsy, and that's the most important part, is CCing both of the DPS, and they can punch through that Barskin, setting up so many cooldowns in a row. So as long as Botar doesn't go on tilt, as long as SK Gaming can keep a level head, they definitely have the advantage leading into Game 5.
Yeah, like VL was saying, he needs to pre-bear pretty much every one of those red buff killing spree swaps, and if he doesn't, then he's just going to die. If he doesn't have his trinket, Ironbark's not going to be enough. Perhaps Vigilance might be, but like you said, the cross CC, very, very important to them, so Botar can't actually get out those heals, and Joe Fernandez can't come back and peel.
All right, we do have a map choice locked in as well as the compositions for both of these teams. We can head down and take a look at the draft and find out what the stage and setting is going to be for the final match of the World of Warcraft Arena World Championship 2015.
And no changes.
No changes whatsoever. And like you were saying, Josh, this is the first time an Enhancement Shaman and a Rogue have made it to the finals. This is the first time these specializations really get their chance to shine. And we can see both of these teams playing to the pinnacle level of skill here in this grand final. And I'm more than excited to get this underway.
The scary part of that last kill that we saw at the end of that replay was even though they got a kill onto Botar, they baited the Shaman Rage out of Swapsy. So even if Botar didn't die at that point, they could have trained Swapsy into the ground after that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they've been doing all tournament, making sure that they force these cooldowns out of Joe Fernandez, Swapsy, and Botar. But Botar doing an excellent job rotating their defensive cooldowns. That's what these guys are known for. That's what they do an excellent job doing. And for the most part, I mean, Joe Fernandez, Swapsy putting out so much pressure, more so than any other turbo cleave I've really seen in these tournaments.
Yeah, this is an absolutely crucial match here. The winner of this gets the title of BlizzCon Championship as well as that $120,000 first place prize. The gates are just about to open. We will be getting into this very shortly. If you would like to see SK Gaming take it all the way, give them a cheer.
And of course, on the opposing side, Skillcapped to you. This is the last game at BlizzCon 2015. If you want Skillcapped to take it, let's hear it.
It's pretty even.
Yeah, pretty even indeed. Once again, we're going to be seeing SK Gaming, or Skillcapped, pardon me, looking for a very ideal opener, playing it very safe. I don't think throughout this entire tournament they've been knocked out almost once. Very, very clean, very patient, making sure that they get this triple CC out right away. The Shroud of Concealment coming out, giving a little bit more time on stealth. Actually, the cheap shot going out on Joe Fernandez right away. Kidney shot onto Botar. Looks like Botar is going to be the target of choice once again right away. Adrenaline Rush coming out. Raikou actually getting that Ironbark to stop some damage onto him. Botar having to use his Bark Skin once again in the opener.
Oh, is it going to be enough, though? He's still dipping dangerously low. He's going to Shadow Meld. We see the Ascendance off healing coming up from Swapsy, doing a good job trading that out a little bit more evenly here. Skillcapped, you need to respond to this. Polymorphing Swapsy, trying to slow down some damage. Stormbolt over on the healing stat. Raikou is going to retreat, which means that Prey is the only target that Joe can connect to at the moment. Now leaping over onto Raikou. SK Gaming doing a good job positionally at the pillar, only really getting through that Ascendance healing and Barskin. SK Gaming are looking good initially in this match.
Yeah, definitely. They did manage to pull out a couple of crucial cooldowns there. Ooh, Raikou dips down super low and has to use his first Ice Block block. He's going to go ahead and cancel that right away because they want to stay on the offensive. There's the deep
Another
freeze
swap on the
coming out of
Botar. He's got no Barskin. He gets the Iron Bark off just in time. Will the Iron Bark be enough? He did pre-bear for him. He's got the Iron Bark. He's got full hots, and Botar, you can fool him once, but you're not going to fool him twice.
Yeah, that was a lot of cooldowns, though.
Yeah, one thing to note, at the beginning of every match, they've used Recklessness and Ascendance at the same time. SK Gaming still has Recklessness available.
Yeah, so we're sort of staggering those offensive cooldowns, making sure they have pressure when they need it. Botar doing an excellent job, though, like you were saying, still having his Barskin as well as Trinket. So I don't know if Raikou and Pry can continue the assault onto Botar with him having so many more defensive cooldowns. Raikou taking a little bit of damage, still only having one Ice Block. The Iron Bar going out onto him from healing stat, but this is the triple CC we've seen time and time again. Swapsy having used that Shamanistic Rage right away. A little bit of damage coming up from Pry and Raikou at the moment. I think they know the kill has been lost. They're not going to go for it. Forcing out the Shamanistic Rage is exactly what they wanted to do.
There's the blind onto Botar, though. They may still try to set something up from that. No, it does not look like it. They're just going to go ahead. Botar actually just trinketed that. So they did manage to pull out his trinket, which is important here.
Yeah, it is very important. Joe Fernandez has to be the man with a plan for the next setup. If he doesn't respond appropriately for the next attack from Skill Cap to you, they could fall here. Pressure onto Raikou. He's locked on Frost. Colossus smashes up. He's down to 33%. Healing Stat pops the Heart of the Wild, trying to pick him back up with those Genesis heals. Doing a good job healing through the pressure, trying to fake cast the Reflect there. Joe is going to preemptively Blade Storm to avoid the clone. They're actually swapping over on the Healing Stat. He needs to respond. There's the Barskin out from Healing Stat. Not going to play this greedy. They know that they have the win if they can pull off the CC right here and now. Actually, they're going to swap over onto Botar. Joe Fernandez gets the Vigilance up, and I think the Vigilance should be enough to tide Botar over. Well done from Joe Fernandez to defuse that setup out from Skill Cap.
Botar also having to use his Barskin, though, so now Barskin, no Trinket available for 1 minute, as well as no Vigilance, so Botar could be in a lot of trouble. Pry actually getting bashed up there by Botar. Well done by him, making sure that he stays offensive, even though he knows he's a little bit of trouble. Healing Stat getting Storm Bolted, does have his Barskin up in 30 seconds, healing as well as his Trinket, so he does have some defensive cooldowns to work with. Pry having to get that Iron Bark. Healing Stat needs to get some additional healing out onto him. Botar, though, once again, having no defensive cooldowns. If Skill Cap can get another good, clean setup onto Botar, CCing Swapsy and Joe Fernandez could be in a ton of trouble.
Yeah, we're starting to see SK Gaming using that strategy of just pinging back and forth between all the targets, trying to catch Healing Stat off balance. They do manage to catch him in a Stormbolt there for just a second, but now they're trying to turn it back around onto Swapsy. He does get the Iron Bark ahead of time, so it looks like he's actually going to be fine for the moment, and Healing Stat's still taking a lot of pressure.
Yeah, he's able to displace back to the pillar, though. Now we're going to see both teams kind of reset at the moment. A little bit of pressure onto Raikou. Gets locked on that sheep. He's not able to blink. He gets charged on the Blazing Speed. Down to 40% HP. He's got one more Ice Block remaining, but Healing Stat going to trade the Nature Swiftness out. Not actually doing too much. Prey caught into a Stormbolt. He did pre-feint this. Well done. It's going to reduce a lot of damage for that Stormbolt.
Yeah, Polymorph actually being spammed by Raikou there for just a second. He managed to get a couple of them on Joe Fernandez, which helped Prey out a lot as well. Raikou still under a lot of pressure. He's going to have his Cold Snap available, though, in another 7 seconds. So very, very shortly here, he will have the double Ice Blocks available as they're starting to turn it back around onto SK Gaming. There's a full sheep onto Botar. Swapsy immediately uses that Shamanistic Rage, trying to limit the damage. Botar gets caught in the blind and immediately trinkets that as well. Iron Bark coming up in 5 seconds. There's maybe a little bit of opportunity here, but Raikou gets down to 30% health and has to Ice Block.
Yeah, but there's no Vigilance up. Swapsy has no Trinket, no Shamanistic Rage whatsoever. Botar has no Trinket either. The next red buff Killing Spree, which is coming up very, very shortly onto Swapsy, could be the game. They need to be very, very careful of that. Raikou taking a little bit of damage right now. Healing Stat throwing out that Iron Bark, going to be empowering his heals once again and preventing some of that damage.
They're actually going to swap onto Botar. He did pre-bear farm. He's got the Barskin ready for this attack. Raikou not able to connect, but they did bait the Barskin out. The next swap might be lethal. Prey doesn't care. He's actually just going through the Barskin. Adrenaline Rush comes out, but Prey overextends. He's caught into the Stormbolt. Did they have any damage to follow it up? Doesn't look like they do. Raikou doing a good job. Polymorph in the DPS, trying to peel for his team as Skill Cap to you evacuate the situation.
Pry actually held on to his killing spree during that. I thought he was going to chain it after that Adrenaline Rush.
Yeah, Joe Fernandez actually used his Vigilance there as well, so now Botar in a very scary position where, once again, doesn't have his Barskin for the up-and-coming Killing Spree. Raikou, Healing Stat, and Pride just need to hold on a little bit longer, but can Raikou actually live? Down to 30% HP, 20% HP, blinking away from Joe Fernandez. Heroic leaping in, though. The Colossus Smash comes out. Healing Stat.
Here comes the swap onto Botar, though. Somehow, someway, I think Skill Cap you might be able to take it back. They need the damage here to follow it up. Botar gets the Iron Bark onto himself. Killing Spree comes out from Prey. The heals from Swapsy should be enough to keep Botar alive. There's the clone onto Swapsy for cross CC, but Botar again ready for the swap and shutting Skill Cap to you down. Prey caught into that full bash, holding onto his trinket once again, pre-fainting the stun. Really well done from Prey thus far, but they need to make something happen quick. The damage is going to start to become insurmountable from SK Gaming.
Yeah, because dampening is starting to stack up here. We're already at 5%. Of course, that is a healing reduction on everybody. It's going to make it very, very difficult for the Resto Druids to continue keeping their teammates alive. Botar gets caught into a full polymorph. Swapsy has his Shamanistic Rage active, but only for another 8 seconds. It will be falling off here very shortly.
currently. Do they have any sort of follow-up CC on a Botar? No, it looks like he's going to be able to get off a Nature Swiftness heal onto Swapsy and keep his teammate alive yet again.
Yeah, but Botar having to do so much pre-healing at the moment. His mana is in big trouble. Healing stat actually getting swapped to once again. Joe Fernandez on his back, having to use that Bark Skin. No Trinket, no Bark Skin available for him. Ascendance is coming up in 25 seconds. They can capitalize on that Ascendance on the healing stat. Pry, though, taking a lot of damage, using that combat readiness to prevent some damage. Botar caught into the full blind, deciding not to Trinket, deciding to sit it. Actually, Trinket's a little bit late. As soon as he sees some damage on the Swapsy, he just Trinkets Iron Barks him. He's going to be completely fine because of it.
Yeah, SK Gaming need to survive this setup. Healing stat has no skin and no Trinket. If Joe and Swapsy can connect with that Ascendance, they might be able to burst him down. Healing stat knows that. He goes behind the pillar. He's getting a drink, but Prey is caught in a stun. Prey has to trade his Trinket. He gets bashed on his Trinket, still dipping dangerously low at 26%. Iron Bark comes out. He uses the Vanish. He's going to have to peel for himself here. Cheap shot into Joe. Joe Trinkets that aggressively here, and this might be an opening for Skillcap if they can survive. Kidney shot over on the Swapsy. He's got Shaman Rage available, but he's going to hold on to it, playing it very smart with no CC onto Botar.
Yeah, that was a very defensive, almost like panic mode kidney shot coming out of Pry there because he knew he was in a lot of trouble, and it didn't matter that it was going to not have it available now for the setup. There's actually a polymorph going out onto Swapsy. Skillcapped at the moment, kind of feeling like they're reeling a little bit from that last push, but Botar at 4% mana, the time is ticking down for SK Gaming.
Yep, there is still Shaman Rage available. We see the adrenaline rush coming out, and I wonder if the Shaman Rage will be enough. Botar's gone to the sheep. Swapsy dipping dangerously low. He Trinkets out. Joe uses the Vigilance. Is he going to die through everything? They follow it up with the Cyclone. Swapsy's trying to stay alive with the Ancestral Guidance, and I think that Swapsy has done it. The Iron Bark now comes up from Botar, but SK Gaming have nothing left. They need to get a kill right here on the healing stat, or the next setup could be their lives. Healing stat caught into the half bash. Barkskin is up, and he's going to NS himself and try and stabilize as he's dipping down below half HP. We see Iron Bark and Barkskin overlap from healing stat, and both teams are running on fumes.
Yeah, Joe Fernandez actually had an incredible fear there, making the entire team of Skillcap there. But Swapsy could be in a lot of trouble. No more defensive cooldowns left. Botar doesn't have a Trinket for another 25 seconds. Swapsy needs to survive. Spam out those heals onto himself. The DR Sap, though, comes out from Pry. Healing stat also taking a little bit of damage. Swapsy getting so low, though. Botar throwing out that NS. Going to top off. Swapsy's going to be completely fine at the moment, connecting onto healing stat, who is caught into that Stormbolt at the moment. Raikou doing everything he can to shut down the damage of SK Gaming, spamming out those polymorphs over and over onto Swapsy.
Yeah, both teams are now having to play very defensively, just try and stay alive as long as they possibly can. It's no longer a matter of killing your opponent so much as outliving them. The smoke bomb comes out. Joe Fernandez still stuck in that for just a second. Swapsy's going to go ahead and respond.
Healing stat has nothing left. Barksky comes up in 3 seconds. He blinks away. Is he going to survive? Part of the wall comes out in a miracle play. Healing stat stays alive. They get the Shaman Rage out from Swapsy. Healing stat has to be careful. Dampening is starting to mount. His healing is going to do less and less. He's trying to top his team off with the Tranquility. Skillcap to you need to find a way to be able to reset and get some mana on healing stat, even if they have to trade a block. Joe charges over. He's looking to try and finish this. Healing stat has Barkskin. Barkskin's a little bit too late. Is it going to be enough to stay alive? He NS's himself. He's going to stabilize. Swapsy gets the block out from Raikou, but Skillcap to you are running low on cooldowns and running low on time.
They are up against the wall right now. Swapsy, though, getting down super low here. Down to 10% health for just a second. The Ice Nova's coming out. They're turning it around.
Oh, getting so low, too. Getting charged up 10% executed. SK Gaming is going to take it. They are your 2,000.
They're not giving up. They're not giving up. They're not giving up.
Cyclone onto Botar right now. Swapsy down to half. They just need to stabilize at this point.
Yeah, SK Gaming, if Skillcap can actually get a cross kill here, then this game is still on. But SK Gaming is doing a great job. Even though Botar is completely out of mana, Swapsy has a little bit of healing available himself, and it's looking like SK Gaming is going to stabilize, and that's going to be it. GG. SK Gaming is your BlizzCon 2015 champions.
Let's give it up for both these teams, guys. They did an incredible job here all weekend long.
There were so many crazy moments during that last match.
An absolutely ridiculous match. So many moments where someone was living at sub 10% health. That was absolutely the best I think we could have asked for here at these grand finals.
They're getting a standing ovation for World of Warcraft right now. You guys giving so much respect to the players. Both of these teams played it out to the maximum extent, but SK Gaming are going to come out a little bit ahead here and take the BlizzCon 2015 championship. There's the brotherly love amongst them, and they worked so hard to achieve this.
I think this team, more so than any others, they say that their practice has really paid off. They had a very strict training regime, and it ended up paying off for them here this weekend.
And congratulations to Fabs, 2-time BlizzCon champion.
Only player to win BlizzCon twice for World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
history is made.
This is World of Warcraft history. I believe you were saying that this is the first Enhancement Shaman victory at a BlizzCon as well. So SK Gaming making a whole lot of firsts right here. Congratulations to them.
All right, we do have Jackson down at the stage, ready to have a little bit of a chat with our 2015 BlizzCon champions.
Wow, what an incredible series and an awesome last match to close it out. I give you your 2015 BlizzCon champions, SK Gaming. Give it up, guys. Come on, come on. Yep. Way to go, guys. Right here, right here. We're good. Right here, see? Come here. You get with your teammates. Here, you guys spread out that way. There you go. Either way. Let's go that way a little bit. Come here. You get with your team. All right, guys. So, one question. If you got one word to describe how you're feeling right now, what is it?
Earlier today I said it's either going to be the best day of my life or the worst. Luckily, it's the best day now.
That's what we like to hear. And they're about to get just a little bit better because we have Tom Chilton, World of Warcraft game director here with your trophies. And a few words for us as well. Come on out, Tom. Way to go. Congratulations, guys.
So BlizzCon 2015, you have your world champions, SK Gaming. And they said that RMD couldn't be beaten. Well, it's been done. So thank you to everyone. We've had over 100 teams from 4 different regions competing in over 1,000 different matches. And we've got our champions. So congratulations. And let's see you next year at BlizzCon 2016.
Thanks, Tom. What an incredible World of Warcraft Arena World Championships we had this year. Huge congratulations to our winners, SK Gaming. And huge thanks to you guys in the audience today. You guys did amazing. Thank you very much for bringing the hype. You guys rock. And of course, a huge thanks to our audience around the world. You guys are tremendous support to the World of Warcraft community. We would not be here without you guys, so thank you very much. And on that note, we will see you guys next year for BlizzCon 2016. Good night.